blacks commit more crimes than whites do.
Okay, well, first of all, what he means by blacks commit more crimes is in fact that African Americans are more often convicted of committing crimes in the United States than any other racial demographic, which is very different from what he said. All that indicates is that the so-called criminal justice system in the United States is primarily only effective in the selective investigation, prosecution, and conviction of African Americans and other so-called minorities, as opposed to investigating, prosecuting, and convicting white perpetrators. The statistics that he's citing are actually an evidence arguing racial bias in policing, in prosecution, and in trials. It's not an evidence of greater criminality along racial demographic lines, no. Rather, it's only the assignment of criminality that falls along racial lines. I mean, more than half of all violent crimes in the United States go unsolved, overwhelmingly the case in certain types of violent crimes. So we're not talking actually about a criminal justice system that works, that's actually effective, that's actually efficient, that actually does its job. What we have is a criminal justice system that disproportionately seems to only quote-unquote work when the perpetrators are not white. African-American victims of homicide, by the way, make up most of the victims of homicide cases that go unsolved, whereas most homicide cases in which the victim is white, those get solved. In other words, crimes against white people are more likely to get solved than crimes against African-American people, or any other so-called minority group, a member of the global majority. And they're even more likely to get solved when the perpetrator of the crime happens to be African-American. Mm-hmm. So in other words, if you're a white victim, you're more likely to get justice. And if you're a white perpetrator, you're more likely to escape justice. That's the system. And that's all that is evidenced by what he's saying. So when you look at the number of unsolved crimes, it's not unreasonable to assume that the say 60% or so of violent crimes in America that never get solved, that those are very possibly crimes committed by white people against African American people or against other so-called minority groups. So rather than saying blacks commit more crimes than anyone else in America, it would be more honest to say that no one who commits a crime in America is more likely to be punished for that crime than an African American. And in fact, it's also more likely for an African American person to be wrongfully convicted of a crime of which they are accused. And it's more likely for them to even be punished for that, even when they have been proven innocent. And you can look at the case right now of Marcellus Williams. So the statistics that he's citing actually only substantiate the belief that the so-called criminal justice system in the United States is a major component of what you can call a systematic domestic ethnic cleansing program in America, being carried out against African Americans and other members of the global majority. That's all that is evidenced by the statistics that he's citing. And this, in fact, demonstrates a vastly greater degree of criminality than anything that he mentioned. And I would go further to say that the speaker himself, with the statistics that he's mentioning and the interpretation that he's putting on those statistics, that he himself occupies a propaganda role in that ethnic cleansing system, for which, in my opinion, he could and should be prosecuted under international law. So I really would hope that people would take this more seriously and understand the gravity of what so-called minority groups, members of the global majority, what they are facing and what they are enduring, and the human rights violations that are committed against them in the United States, that you would take that more seriously. So that when you see someone who is clearly playing a propaganda role in support of what, again, does constitute an ethnic cleansing program in America, when you see someone who is occupying a role of propaganda in support of that system, normalizing that system, justifying that system, rationalizing that system, understand that this person is a criminal. And inshallah, one day they will face justice for that. And should not be regarded simply as someone who is airing offensive or controversial views. No, you should take this more seriously and not simply use it as an opportunity to have a debate with someone like this. They shouldn't be debated, they should be prosecuted.
I don't want to... When they attack black people after they've been murdered, when they did absolutely nothing wrong, you're pushing us to the limit. And what do I mean by that? You're asking us to talk about history, the history of the South. This is in Georgia. What happened in Georgia? There were savages in Georgia. It was the ancestors of the white right-wingers. They were absolute savages. They murdered people. They lynched people. They raped people. They enslaved people. They took babies from their mothers and sold them as property. You want to talk about savages? Your ancestors were the biggest savages the world has ever seen. And so don't you dare call a black man a savage after you murdered him. Don't you dare do that. I'm so sick of African Americans being called violent when the world's worst violence was done to them, not by them, to them, not by them. For God's sake, you want to do racist stereotypes? If it fit anywhere, and it doesn't, but if it fit anywhere, it would certainly fit white right-wingers of the South, who has hundreds of years of history of being savages. Savages! They snatched babies, and they sold them as property, and they raped their mothers. Savages! That's what they were. You want to talk about stereotypes? Screw all of you who still defend that Confederacy, that monstrosity. Anyone who defends that is a barbaric savage.
That's why they don't want to teach American history in public schools. That's why there's been a strong orchestrated effort to prevent the teaching of anything that you just mentioned right now. Because, hey, God forbid that, children learn about the real savages in this country's history.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our power, and the power of his Hamashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad with another edification, another lesson through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. First and foremost, Kal Halayam, Allah Hayanawa Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai Ba'asham Raka Kodash. Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, the elders, a great millstone that rule well. Double salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching the truth throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled bird Israelites. Shalom unto the very few but faithful Akwat, which is the sisters. Alright. Hey. You see why the Lord is going to judge Esau, Edom, the way that they're going to be judged. Alright. You see the lies, you see the reason why? Alright, because of the lies and the treachery. But not only that, alright, not only that, the wickedness, that they have put forth upon us, and what have you so forth. So this is the situation here, alright. Saw those two clips there. Alright. I wasn't gonna use the two clips, and I was just gonna use the first one, but the Spirit had me to use both clips. Alright. Because this is the thing here. Alright, this is the thing here. They accuse us of being the more violent, and we commit more crime than our racial counterpart, which is the Edomite, alright, the so-called white man. They accuse us of committing more crime than them, and what have you so forth, when Truth and in fact is the other way around. Alright? Truth and fact is the other way around. Okay? And this is the thing here. They would never address what they had been doing to us. Yeah? They would never address themselves. Alright? As a matter of fact, they hold themselves pursuant to let's go to that. I think it's Zephaniah. No, not Zephaniah. Let's see Zechariah. Zechariah 5 and 11. No. Let me see. Is it Zephaniah, boy? Let me think. I'm going to waste time here. I'm going to come to here. I'm going to waste time. Alright. And themselves not Alright, it's Zechariah 11 and 5. Add it off. It's Zechariah 11 and 5. Alright, so let's take a look at that. Zechariah 11 and verse 5, where it reads, Zechariah 11 and 5, I'll start at verse 4, where it reads, Thus say the Lord my power, feed the flock of the slaughter. Alright, who is the flock of the slaughter? Us so-called Negroes, alright, Hispanics and Native American Indians. Alright, whose possessors slay them. Whose possessors slay them, and hold themselves not guilty. Alright, and they that sell them, alright, say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. And their eyes and their own Salakia, their own shepherds pity them not. So this is the situation here. Alright. They made merchandise of us, what have you, so forth. They slaughtered us by the millions. Alright, by the millions, both northern and southern kingdom. Alright, and they hold themselves not guilty. Alright, they hold themselves not guilty. But alright, but here it is. They has so managed to convince the world that the most violent people upon the face of the earth is the so-called Negroes. Alright? When truth and in fact they are the violent ones. Alright? They are the one that live by their blessing, which is the sword. Alright? And they hold themselves not guilty. And it's a natural, and it's a fact. It is a fact. Alright, when you go back to civil, to the not just the civil rights movement, even during the days of slavery, alright, even during the days of slavery and leading up to the civil rights movement and whatnot, so forth, it was, especially in the South, it was illegal for a so-called Negro to testify against a so-called white man. Okay? It was illegal. Alright, the so-called white man could have do what crime against us and what have you, so forth. Alright, and they would always get away scot-free. Alright, and no Negro could have testified against them. Alright, but here it is. They have a system. Okay, they have a system that is put in place. Alright, to have a high conviction rate. Okay, to have a high conviction rate of the so-called Negro. Alright. To go along with their false narrative, their propaganda, alright, and their blatant lying accusations against us. You understand? To justify the mass incarceration of Jake. Alright? This is what it is. Alright? This is why they have things like what, like the 13th Amendment law and what have you, so forth, you know, where you brothers and sisters should go and research it. Alright? But this is what it is here. This is the accuser of the brethren. Alright? The false accuser. These people are the devil, man. Alright? And the word devil just goes into accuser. Alright? False, you know, laying false accusations and whatnot, so forth. Slanderer. Alright? All right, there's what it is. These people, man, these people have the nerve. All right, and the thing about it is, they are being exposed on such a high level. All right, on such a high level, on a daily basis, that they can't keep control of the narrative no more. All right, they literally cannot keep control of the narrative anymore. All right, they're losing control of the narrative. That's why they have something called what, critical race theory. All right, and they don't, where they don't really want to teach the truth. They wanna exclude, slavery and the atrocities of slavery and whatnot, from the schools, the teaching of it, what was done in the past and what is still being done to this day and what have you, so forth, Because why? When I go to it's Habakkuk 2:16, I believe. Habakkuk 2:16. Alright, where it reads what? I will start at verse 15. Alright? Habakkuk 2:15, where it reads, Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, and maketh him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Alright? And this is the thing here. Okay? They provide a platform, all right, for Jake to just be on total niggerism and what have you, so forth. All right, they provide that platform, all right, your hip hop and all these things, and the 3 or 4 culture of these females and what have you, so forth. They provide it. They are the ones that provide the platform for these things to flourish. All right, for Jake to just, be on a whole bag of nonsense and a whole bag of wickedness. All right, there's what it is here. Yeah. And then falsely accuse us unto the Lord. Like, hey, look, these people are your people and whatnot, so forth, and look what they are doing. Look, But the thing is, you are the ones that provide. You are the one that provide that platform. All right. Your wicked music and what have you, so forth. Where Jake so stupid, Jake glorifying these things and going out to perform these stupid acts and what have you, so forth. So that they could continue to persecute us. All right, and have us in their institutions, their prison institutions and what have you, so forth. This is what it is. This is what it is. All right. So it says, verse 16, Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. All right. The cup of the Lord's hand. All right. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. All right, because the world is getting to see you for what you is. All right, you haters, you accusing us and what have you, so forth. All right, but the thing about it is, everybody done know your whole status quo about you already. All right, everybody done know your status quo. All right, haters, you call us the most violent people, all right, upon the face of the earth. But here it is, you all are bombing nations, man. All right. Here it is, you all are ethnically cleansing a people group over there in Palestine. All right. You all are bombing them by the day, bombing hospitals, killing man, woman, children, whatnot, so forth. All right. You all went into Iraq. Over 1 million civilians, all right, perish, all right, in that war. All right. You all going from place to place, country to country, subjugating, colonizing, all right, murder, slaughter, thieving, all right, but we are the violent ones. You see the hypocrisy? All right, you see the hypocrisy? All right. As the man said in the last clip there, hey, You all murdered us by the millions, man. All right, now he talk about you know, the taking babies from the mother and selling them and whatnot so forth. Hey, let's take a look at this. They're taking babies from the mothers and using them as gator bait. What about that? Let's talk about that. Let's address that. Seeing that we're talking about violence and crime and whatnot so forth, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's address that. Millions of babies you all take and use them as gator bait and whatnot, you know, to catch alligators and whatnot, to make your alligator boots and bags and this and that and the other and the other and the other. Let's address that, man. This is the thing here. This is the thing here, and the thing about it is they hold themselves not guilty. All right? They hold themselves not guilty, man. All right? They have a wicked, evil justice system, you know, that is literally built around the persecution of Jake. You understand? That's why the scripture say is Jeremiah 50, I think, you know. Jeremiah 50 and 33, I believe. Let me see. Jeremiah 50 and 33 or 34, something like that. Yep, Jeremiah 50, 33, where it reads, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives, all right, held them fast. They refused to let them go." All right, this is why, you know, we are the main ones that is in their prison system. All right, make up the vast population of their prison system. You understand? This is what it is. And they put themselves in this way, you know, like if they are the righteous ones, you know, the godly ones, whatnot, so forth. Yeah. That's why the Lord said, Psalms, I think it's 51 and 17. Let me see, or 16. Well, let me see, Psalms 50 and 17. Psalms 50 and 16. I'm gonna read this here, where it reads, "But unto the wicked saith Yahweh, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant into thy mouth? All right, seeing thou hatest instruction and castest thy words behind thee." All right, casted my words behind thee. All right, this is what it is here. All right, they claim say that America was built on Christian values and you know, and that they are God-fearing people and whatnot, so forth, so forth. You understand? Hey, but they're not living according to the scriptures. All right, they're not living according to the scriptures. They're not living according to righteousness and what have you, so forth. You understand? There is what it is. There is what it is. Yeah. Over verse 18 say, "When thou sawest a thief, then thou contendest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Yeah. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son." Yeah. This is what these people are. They are a bunch of liars and slanderers, man. All right? They are a bunch of deceitful, lying, slanderous people. Okay? This is what it is. You all, hey, let's take a look at you all track record, man. Let me go stray from that, man. Let me go stray from that. Let's address your track record, man. But the Lord said what? These things, verse 21, these things hast thou done, and I kept silent. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether as such as one as thyself. All right? And this is big. Hey, that's why they know the iconoclasm and what have you so forth, because they really think that, you know, because they're not being judged and whatnot so forth, is that the Lord with them and whatnot so forth, you know, and the Lord is white, so called, all right, you know, Caucasian features and whatnot so forth, you know. So what they are doing to us is something that is justified and whatnot so forth. But what the Lord said, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. All right, and this is what the Lord is doing. This is what the Lord is doing. All right, this is what the Lord is doing, setting us in order. All right, that's why you have what the men, all right, of Israel rising up, all right, in righteousness, okay, and condemning this place to be destroyed, especially America, all right, especially America, all right, and the time is ripe and ripe for America to be utterly destroyed off of the face of the earth. There's what it is. There's what it is. The time is ripe and right for America to be utterly destroyed off of the face of the earth, man. All right. And I will leave with this last scripture here, which is Sirach 25 and 7. This is what we're patiently waiting on, man. Alright, Sirach 25 and 7, where it reads, there be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. And this is what we're patiently waiting on. To see the downfall of America, to see the downfall of Esau Edom. Alright, this is what we're patiently waiting on. Through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Hey, so I hope you all was edified through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This is your brother Kahan from the 3MS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad, signing out, saying, Kal Halayam, La Alahayana wa Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Kodash. Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Double salutation unto the brothers who preach and teach the truth through all the 4 corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so no more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled bird Israelites, and shalom unto the very few but faithful Akwat, which is the sisters, are listening and learning. Your brother Kahan signing out, saying shalom, wa bad babal unto this wicked place, man.